Say her name, Mahsa Amini. As for all demonstrations and social movements, the current human rights issue in Iran is broader than any one person. The freedom of expression and the freedom of assembly are two of the most basic universal rights that allow people to participate in free societies in any way they choose. It is the right of every Iranian to protest against the wrongdoing of their government. These rights must be respected and protected. More than 2 months have passed since the spark of the death of Mahsa Amini and the outburst of protests, and still the regime fails to listen to their own people. Every day, across the entire country, peaceful protests are oppressed by security forces using lethal weapons, resulting in the unlawful death of hundreds of innocent civilians. Thousands are arbitrarily detained. Credible reports detail torture and gender-based violence within detention centers. Finally, the regime is regularly and continually resorting to the death penalty against peaceful protesters. The list of crimes and human rights breaches perpetrated by the Iranian regime is almost unquantifiable. We are reminded that Iran has ratified international human rights covenants. It cannot ignore universal and fundamental protections. No excuses of so-called emergencies gets around these legal protections. Geneva International Center for Justice firmly condemns the brutal oppression and linked human rights violation perpetrated by the Iranian regime. We support the establishment of a United Nations independent fact-finding mission. Further, the current government of Iran should allow protests to continue. Second, they listen to the demands of their citizens. Third, they should implement changes, and finally prosecute those responsible for the unnecessary deaths of more than 350 of its own Iranian citizens. Today we recognize the Iranian struggle and join our voice to theirs. Today we say Mahsa Amini, woman, life, and liberty.